What is up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and in this video we're going to be doing a pretty special tutorial on setting up an Automator process inside Scrapebox. I might also segue into maybe doing something a little more sophisticated with the premium email scraper, but that might have to wait for another video. So go ahead and speed this video up by clicking the cog on the lower right and set it to 1.5 or so you can get through this quickly. This is going to be a long video probably. I haven't mapped out the process for doing this, and so we'll be tinkering around a bit. That'll give you guys a chance to kind of see how I handle things in real time. And we're going to be going through all these various servers that I've got down here opened up and ready to go. Excuse me. As you can see, I recently decided to start color coding them or whatever. So I got a white server, a black server, a blue server, a red server, and I'm in the process of renaming those and making sure they're labeled so they're easier to spot, where I'm doing things at various times. For a long time, excuse me, I've been I've just been doing everything on one single layer. So the desktop is often really cluttered with all these various files, which has been fine. Sometimes I think it would be a catastrophe if I accidentally right-clicked and did sort by or something, but that hasn't happened so far, and it's really okay. Some of this stuff is deprecated, like at Tier 2, you can't really automate that conveniently because of issues with thread locks and Scrapebox with the link extractor. And so, to make up for an inability to go to Tier 2, in the past, I just added a greater level of depth to various scrapes. So the formula being... the formula is number of terms times number of locations times depth of search results. So there's quite a bit of range. If you mess with any of those variables, you can significantly increase your yield even at Tier 1. So going into Tier 2 is not really convenient. In some cases, it makes sense, like if you trimmed a root, but then at that point, you're mostly getting small business websites, and generally when you go to Tier 2, it's actually with the majority of a Tier 1 list being directory results, where you might actually be on some sort of page that has a link to a small business website. But if you go deeper and just trim to root anyways, you're likely to find the same websites anyways. So there's a test I'd like to rerun at some point, running a larger quantity of keywords with a very shallow depth, and to see how that will yield. So that might have to be done in another video. For this one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the Automator files, so these files here, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to make them reside within a folder, so that essentially I can take a folder and drop it onto any new server, and it will sort of act like an isolated program. And I might even either give it out or offer it at a price to you guys if you wanted to just take my folder, drop it on your desktop, and then you could just run it from that, single folder. So that's something I'd like to do rather than have all this out here. And I've got a new server. I got a couple new servers, so this is a good opportunity to get that done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, let's see, is this deep URL? Yeah. Pardon me. I'm going to copy this Automator file, and I'm going to hop over to my red server and copy it just out here. Usually I like to open up the sandbox and copy into a folder, but this desktop is pretty clear, so let's put this up here. Or, well, we're going to put it into a folder. So let's make a folder, and let's call this folder, let's call it Ivan's B2B Lead Automator. Something like that. I'll put this here. Let's drop this here. Let's call it Ivan's Scrapebox B2B Lead Automator. Yeah. Excuse me. Looks like I got some files ready to go from. I did a deep scrape some weeks ago on. Well, I guess it wasn't weeks ago. I did the URLs at one point, and then I recently came in and did the emails on this server. So for dental data, so a new layer of dental data. So I'm hoping that this will be, pardon me, better than what I've had. Oh, looks like it doesn't show the file extension. So let me come in here into a folder and turn that on. View file extensions. And there you go. Now we can view those file extensions. So let's do this tier 1 URL to root to contact pages. Go email or URL and email. This is a manual process, so it doesn't have the same taxonomy as my typical files. I'm going to open this up. Excuse me. Find that little line thing, piping thing, and then replace that with a comma. Place all. Save that file. And while we're working on this, let's go ahead and get this verified. So I'm going to come over here to my verification server. Hot mess that this desktop is. I'm going to drop this over. Let's delete this. Let's delete this. And actually, this might be expired right now, because I think this expired today. I need to renew it possibly. Let's drop this here. Delete duplicates. I wonder if this is not registered. Let's find out. Seems to be fine right now. I need to check on this though. I didn't get an email notification, so I guess we'll find out. There was an update to this not too long ago, so it's adding now an MX column. Okay, so we'll let that run while we're working on this other stuff over here. I should be able to see the instructions inside the file, so I shouldn't really need to copy over a bunch of, well, it might be convenient to do that. Let's go ahead and copy from this server. What do we have in here? Hotels and resorts. Let's look at the scrape archive. Make sure that we saved that. Yeah, so that's workflow is saved. What I do is before I run a new job, I'll generally drag all these files into a zip folder and then drop it into this archives folder to try to keep space on the hard drive, but it still takes up a ton of room. See this, I'm already halfway through this. I really thought 250 gig SSD was going to last me a while, but now I wish I had gotten the 500 gig one. But at some point I'll have to go in there and delete some stuff and make some room, and I might start paying for some cloud storage. I don't know. Or maybe just, well, I don't need to do that. I'll probably just buy an external terabyte or something like that and put it in the corner over there. But archiving those into zip files helps to save some room. I save the workflows on whatever server the scrape is done on, and then final verified files I tend to save on this server because they've been verified on this server. Let's see. Let's delete this. Some of this stuff I just haven't moved. Okay, and then let's come in here and let's clean out what's labeled, what's included in these files so that we can just copy these file names. Actually, we want to keep this in here. And let's delete this here, this, and that. And that should be the last one. I haven't used any of this other stuff in many months because this other stuff down here at the bottom is deprecated. So I'll probably rearrange that at some point here. I don't think any of this other stuff is used often. These city files are definitely used, so I need to copy those over. Local business keywords. I need to put the UK phone number rejects into this new Scrapebox instance. Scrapebox phone number rejects. E-commerce niches. So I need to put those. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and select this and this. Boom, boom, boom. Canadian cities. Let's do that one. Rarely use that. Proxy files should already be over there, actually. And then we'll go. I do like having temp files. I can just create those. Let's see, and then we'll do these. So let's copy those, and then let's paste these into this folder. We'll just paste it here at the root of this folder. And then we'll arrange them into a folder inside this folder. So we'll call this what should we call this? Tier 1. And I'll just include all this stuff that's labeled Tier 1. These are assets or resources. So contact keyword export, contact pages. Let's see. So we'll probably leave these. See, contact keyword export, contact pages, merge terms. The merge terms file is sort of what operates at the root. So we want to leave that at the root of the folder. Keyword export, contact pages. Contact keyword export. So we'll do something like resources. And we'll put the city names in there and the niches. And probably these three well, not really sure what to call this actually. Scrape, contact keyword export, contact pages. really could just go into tier 1, even though they could be used for other purposes. We'll just put those into tier 1. And then top 5,000 cities as resources. Phone number rejects, resources. And I'll make a proxies folder because that's important. Specific. And then this stuff can just stay in this region. Just drop the size of this folder down. We probably need to make a shortcut to the folder out here. Yeah, this text file, because I like to click on this. And probably just create shortcuts to some of the key areas anyways. Because I like to kind of handle them up here. In particular, let's make a shortcut to tier 1, alive and root and contact pages alive. Let's do that. Shortcut here. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, should be good to go there. I've got these proxies out here. Probably need to be shortcuts, but I can always change that later. Can I drag a shortcut over here? Let me see. What happens if I drag, save this? What happens if I drag this? Is that what I typed? No. Yeah, so that file, those two files aren't even there. So that wouldn't be, may not even be useful at all. Let's see, HTTPS site.com. Yeah, it's not going to work. So that's kind of useless. Well, I can copy paste though. So I'll just, yeah, just wanted to make sure that it was actually in there. So I'll just maybe open those up and copy paste. We'll see how it gets handled. Okay, so I moved that over. Let me close this. And now we need to basically open up the Automator file. So let's go Automator, load Automator file. And let me see. Be this one right here. So basically what we're doing is I'm taking an Automator process, and instead of having it make calls from assets on the desktop, I'm rearranging it to make those same calls from assets inside of a folder. And so we probably want to make this really simple to read with no spaces, just in case, just to make it sure that there's not going to be any problems with how the data reads. No caps. Let's go Ivan's lead. Why can I not see? Okay. Automator. Oh, that's the end of it. I'm in Scrapebox B2B lead automator. Okay. So yeah, so it'll basically it'll make it so that we can run the automator process from the folder, and it's not a bunch of loosely strung files all over the place. Like, be able to take that into new servers and just drop the folder, and it can run on basically any server. Is the relatively any server. That's the goal. Okay. Now, obviously, we've got different paths, so that might that might complicate it because it's looking at users there. So, but if the name is the same, well, I guess that could be changed. There's might be a way to do here a path marker. Might be a way to make it do paths. Okay, so the desktop folder path with the path to your desktop. Yeah, so we should be able to use. I need to run a test. So let's create a new process. Let's start a new Automator file, and let's go load proxies, and let's use the path trick %desktop %, and then let's go into this folder. So we can just click up here. We can go here and paste that, and then actually put the name of the file, which would be, see, right now I have data center proxies, so I would just need to grab the name of this URL proxies to my residential proxies and just paste that here. So let me save this Automator file as test on desktop and click save. So that should, let me just get all these files into one place, taking up, I'm gonna have to keep moving this camera. So okay, so we got this test here. Let's see if this path trick works properly, because then we'll be able to transfer all that stuff. So let me exit here. Let's go to run Automator Job Test. And either it didn't work or it's loading. I remember testing some stuff with Path before and had problems with it, so it could be that it just simply did not do anything. Let's see if we can see it pop up here in the processes, maybe. Test. And I saw it flicker for a second, but it doesn't look like it worked. Didn't see anything. All right, well, let's open up that Automator again. Let's load up that test file, and let me look at this to see if I did it wrong. Your desktop folder path. Scrapebox will replace this marker with the path to your desktop. There's no reason that shouldn't work. Type the file name of the proxies to load. Okay, so let's try to navigate there. Scrapebox, B2B Automator Proxies. Oh, you know what? I didn't put the folder. Silly me. Proxies. That's a silly mistake to make. Save Automator file. Probably should have just clicked on the file and then just replaced it with the path. So let's save this to here and then exit. So then we'll go to Run Automator Job Test, open, and it worked. Awesome. Awesome. So that's cool because that means that we can have vanilla paths with our file structure. So let's go back to the Automator and let's load the actual Automator file. Basically just going to come in here and let's navigate to the proxies. So in this case, it'll be, was it URL? Yeah, URL proxies. And then I'll just come in here to where it says desktop, up to desktop, and I'll just type in desktop. You gotta be real careful how you do this stuff because you make one mistake, 20 chains down, and it can take you forever to find where that one mistake is. So be careful. We did just do a test on that, and that seemed to work fine. The wise thing to do would be to test it one step at a time. Kind of hard to do with some of the processes taking time. So maybe you use a tiny amount of keywords to test the process as we go along. So URL proxies looks good. Looks good. Let's go ahead and save it. Just because I want to be careful. All right, import. Here we're going to import the cities. In this case, it defaults to the top 5K cities in the USA. So under resources, I'm going to go to top 5K USA cities. Yeah. And here, up to desktop, make sure not to get that backslash. I'm going to paste this this path for desktop. I know it's funny. I was using forward slashes perhaps, and it still did it correctly. I probably wouldn't have even noticed that. That's silly. All right, let's go ahead and save. Click save. Let's go to merge keywords. So this is important to the merge terms file. You can just go right there in the root of that whole thing, and this is the file where I drop in the keywords and then just hit the go button. So that's an important file. And then here I'm going to drop this desktop path thingy-majigger. Let's save that. Import, export. So it exports the keywords that it permutates with locations. So let's go ahead and go to the tier 1 file. Should these be placed here? Kind of seems like they shouldn't. Contact keyword export, contact pages, keyword export. Kind of seems like there needs to be a permutations folder. Scrape merge terms, resources. Yeah. Let's make a permutations folder. Resources tier 1. Yeah. All right. Permutations explains what they are, and we understand that where to find those files. if necessary. So here's the merge terms, and then let's open up the tier 1 area, and let's drop in all those permutations. I mean, technically, these are all, well, they're not permutations, these are combinations, but these are permutations of the raw data. Should probably call them permutations also. Scrape, contact, keyword export. Yeah, let's rename this. Let's see. Scrape merge terms. Let's go permutations, contact, export. Permutations, contact, keyword export. Permutations, contact pages, permutations, keyword export. Kind of an arbitrary change, I suppose. I mean, has some use, just to keep things clear in one's head. How many Canadian cities are in here? 1,700. So, point 1K, let's just say, let's just say 2K Canadian cities. It's close enough. Let's get this properly done here. E-commerce niches. Let's just call this niches. Let's call this, I already named this, so, well, let's just do it again. This doesn't need to be named. It's just a reference material. Yeah. All right. So let's go back and double check what we have. So URL proxies. Yeah, I prefer to call that URL because they're residential, but the purpose is for URLs, so they're not like other residential proxies. Let's make sure we change the name of this to the right location. So top 5K USA cities. And then repaste the desktop reference. So I'm sure that saves. This is scrape merge terms. I'll leave that there because it's unique. The word scrape. I didn't change that root file, so that's fine. I mean, technically, let me see. It doesn't need to be in the root of that folder. It could be in the permutations section since it's being used for permutations. Yeah. Let's call this permutations niche terms. And let's put this here. Let's delete this. Let's make a shortcut to this. Put that there. Put this over here. Okay, so then we'll replace this. Sorry for all these little changes. I like the file names to be logical, so let's do that. And then For the keyword export, we'll just find the file that says keyword export. Oh, shoot. Export keyword list as, okay. Keyword export. We'll replace the path here. And in case you hadn't considered it, guys, obviously, like, since I'm kind of doing this very tediously step by step, this is something that you could do yourselves and create your own process if you wanted to. And if I decide to sell this, which I very well may, then make sure to check the description below, and I'll probably have a link to whatever I'm selling, and we'll see. I'll have to think about it, but you might want to check the description below the video, and you might be able to just grab my little file to make it easier. But I need to think about it because I put a lot of hours into creating this system, so I need to be careful not to depreciate the value of what I've created. Okay, and I want to save this Automator file as I go along, just in case. So we got the permutations exported into this section here, and then we're going to harvest URLs based on those permutations. So we got to make sure to change the location of those permutations. We're going to open, is it the keyword export? Yeah, it's the keyword export file. Keyword export. And make sure we change the path so the backslash is still there. And the default is 30 results deep to sort of get as much as we can that's relatively topical without having to do pre-filtering. But anytime I kit a new order, like that's of a custom length or depth or whatever, like I always reopen the file and save a new Automator file, and I typically change this number. So that's the number you got to change if you want to go deeper. And if you go deeper than that, you really have to do keyword filtering to keep your list clean, you know. But the deeper you go, the more relevant results you will get. So anyways, custom footprint platform, all the rest of the stuff we don't need to worry about. Yahoo obviously is already checked off for us. Let's go ahead and move forward. Remove duplicate URLs. Remove URLs with extensions. I kind of want to put .gov in here also. Put .gov. Hold on one second. It's a bunch of music files, but I almost want to put .gov and .edu in here. I mean, I guess there's a use case for edu. You could always come in here and remove the edu extension, so, but it's still like something that I regularly remove. So let's just leave it out. Let's just leave it out. It's something you might want to scrape URLs from those assets, so I'll just leave it out. Okay, so save into tier 1 after that. And we'll go into tier 1 URL. And we'll paste this desktop path. We're going to import those URLs into the harvester. Let me save this before I get too confused. And load load up those data center proxies, data center proxies, put it the right path. Now, I was thinking about this recently. I was thinking about, why do I want to do a live check on the tier ones? I was wondering to myself why I did that. I mean, they're indexed. That doesn't necessarily mean they're alive. Not that an alive check takes that long. If there's like a few million URLs, it'll take, an hour or something. But just kind of asking myself if we really need to do an alive check here. Because then we have trim to root, remove duplicate URLs, export from harvester. Oh, I see. So basically, at the end of it, it combines the total alive list with like a trim to root variation. And the benefit here is there are directories like yellow pages that get picked up in this process. And there can be other directories which have on-page emails, so it's the same URL. But then we trim to root. We do a live check. We save that as a file, the tier 1 results that are alive. You see. Then we trim to root, and at some point we mash them together with contact page guesses, and basically make guesses on additional contact pages. And by the end of the road, we get something that's the URLs that are alive at tier 1 and the root URLs. And because those URLs you get at tier 1, they may not be trimmed to root. They may be specific pages on those websites. So we get both the exact URLs from the search engine results. We get the root URLs, the domains, and then we get the contact pages that are alive from those trim to roots. Now, pardon me, I have been thinking recently, it might be more beneficial to go even deeper and then to just trim to root, period. And then you could do contact page guesses. Excuse me. And that might actually save some time. It might save some time or be a comparable amount of time, but then allow you to get a greater depth of topical results. I've been thinking about that. It takes a really long time to do the contact page guesses because of the artificial addition of spaces, or not addition, but the removal of spaces using a batch script. We'll have to add that into the process. So if you took out the contact page guesses and you took out the face value URLs and you just went really deep and trimmed to root, you might actually be able to save some time on each scrape. But I guess if the goal is, viability, then you might not want to do that. But in a lot of, there's been a lot of deeper jobs that I've been trying to run, and, the metadata has to be pre-scraped, and, we got to filter by a keyword because the list is too big. You can't run more than about 150,000 at a time. So you got to have a way to trim down to as much of the most viable sample as possible, because I don't really want to run batches of email scrapes. It takes way too long. Although that could be a part of it. That could be another Automator sequence where it just splits up a huge sample and then just grabs the emails. What I do is I drop it down to the most ideal URL sample, and then if it's too big, I'll manually scrape the metadata and do the keyword filter manually, and then I'll manually just do the last It's basically like the last 10 or 15, maybe like the last 15% of the process or something. But it could be better to just, once it has the output, then another part of the job is run to somehow split up the results and then use the automator to sequentially grab emails. And that would be a way of just having it to continue to run without needing to handle the last small percentage of the job. So that's something to think about and test. Because if you just trim to root and then just do contact pages, then you'll just be focusing on small business websites, which means that you could probably go deeper. Anyways, something to legitimately test better. Okay, for now, let's just move on with what we've got because it's really fine. It's obviously yielding excellent results. So load proxies and then a live check. Select the URL list. Does this save it? Let me see. Import. Export URLs from Harvester. Okay, those go to the tier 1 URL. Import them into the Harvester. Seems like a redundant step, unless there's a glitch here that I don't remember. Let's move on just in case. Load proxies, then we have a live check on those exported URLs. So let's make sure we check that, or URLs. Let's import those URLs, replace the path. Then we'll go export alive URLs as alive. Just be that one right there. Paste that in. Huh, non-alive. Didn't make sense you could do that. Okay. It's too bad you can't use more connections here. Trim to root, remove duplicate URLs, export URLs from Harvester. So we'll save that as tier 1 URL root. Replace that with generic path. Import, export, keyword list. Okay, contact pages, permutations. These are artificially, they're just guesses on the end of slugs, basically, for contact pages. So more could be included. Those are the... I did actually kind of look at one point what is used, and these are kind of the most typical. So that's what I ended up choosing. Let's replace... Wait, let me see. Okay. All right. Let's put this generic path here. And merge keywords, tier 1 URL root. Save that. Replace with generic path. And move on. Export keyword list as contact keyword export. Okay, so those are the permutations of the contact pages. This is why it helps to label a little bit better so that you don't get too confused. Like Sometimes I'm saying terms, sometimes I'm saying keyword. I probably really should change it, but let's leave it. Okay, let's save this. Let's paste here, and that should be fine. Execute external program. Okay, so I need to save this at this point. And external program is, first I need to, let me open this up. Paste this in here. Is this batch file I had made over on, someone did this for me on Fiverr. Just delete there. Let me export these results here. So export this. Dental. Yeah. Email verified. There we go. Just delete this. And then I'll save this for handling it another time. Let me grab my batch file. Should be up here. Updated scrape contact keyword export. See, it saves this to the desktop. I wonder if I have a choice. This is an important file, so let's go ahead and save this. What is this? Might be an Automator leftover. Forgot about my temp file. I need to have an Automator temp file. That's what I use to configure custom orders. So let's go over to the server and paste. Let's paste this here because you just never know where location will paste. And let's go ahead and move this to, should it be in resources? Scrape contact keyword export. So it's a permutation. I mean, obviously it's a permutations process. So let's put the batch file into the permutations folder here, and then what we got to do is we got to open this thing up in Notepad++ and articulate where it looks. And this might be hard to debug because I haven't worked with this in months. So, okay. Enable delayed expansion. Updated dash file. Okay. So we need to say contact keyword export. So we'll do permutations, contact keyword export. And actually, we need to make sure that it's like this. And I'll save this particular path because that's what we're using, I'm assuming. Now, it just says set file equals boom, so it's just kind of looking. It's hard to tell. Is it looking where the batch file is? Or is it looking on the desktop? Excuse me. Maybe if I set the entire string. Well, we don't want to do that because I might run it from a different server, and this might be I could confusingly not figure out what I've done. Let's just put the file name, and maybe it'll look where the file is. We need to test this though, for sure. So it looks there, and then it adds updated, and it probably adds it to the location of the batch file, I'm assuming. So let's actually run a micro test here. Oh, there's stuff in here. So let's remove as much of this as we can and just get it to run these 4 strings. That won't take forever. This takes forever. Running it in, like, when you do stuff in command prompt, it's really fast, but running it batch like this particular kind of action, it takes a really long time. But there's no other way to automate it, so it's kind of a necessary evil, unless you just didn't even want to do contact page guesses. Then it would be a lot faster, which might be worth it. I need to test it further. Like, I was trying to come up with a way to get more from what I was doing, and servers often just sit around, so I think it's good, but anyways, conflicting. So let me look again at this. So this will take this, and it'll run all this, whatever this stuff is, and then it'll make a new file. So we should just be able to just run this right here. Yes. Look at that. It just added it to the root of where the file existed, and it removed spaces. So that's killer. And actually, I just realized I just gave you this batch file, guys. So if you paste this into a text file and then replace .text with .bat, then you basically have this script that I got made for removing spaces. So I guess I might as well just give this away for free now. Whoops. But it's not a big deal. Anyways, let me copy this desktop thing here. And this right here will get replaced every time, so you don't need to mess with it or delete data inside of it. It's not appended. It's actually, it will be overwritten and replaced each time. So that's pretty cool. Let's remove all this though, just to keep it clean. That all of this stuff will get overwritten, except for this. This will stay the way it is because this is something you have to set. So if you guys wanted to put in your own contact page guesses, or if you wanted to put stuff at the end, anything you wanted to put at the end of a string of URLs, you can use this to put stuff at the end of your URLs. So it's pretty cool. You can even use this permute. You can even use this part of the process in the Automator to create mass page URLs and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Just make sure this is all clean and empty. Okie dokie. So that was blessing right there. Glad that works. Thank God. So let's go permutations. Oh, see, executable, set this to batch. So you can run executables or batch files. And I just, like I said earlier, I just had someone on Fiverr make this for me for like $10. So it was really, really great value there. Let's replace this with desktop. Make sure that backslash is there. Wait for program to exit. Let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to rename this Automator file also at some point. Wait 5 seconds. Yeah, I have it wait 5 seconds just to make sure that, because once this runs, it like pushes it to a text file and saves it, and it can be a lot of data. So I have it wait 5 seconds. It might not be long enough for really super big files, but I remember testing this quite a bit and determined that 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. That was a pretty good amount of time to wait for that to happen. Okay. A live check on those exports, because a lot of those are going to be bogus, obviously. So we got to find out which ones are legit. And contact keyword export. So let's go permutations. And we'll go contact keyword export. Export alive URLs. Oh, I gotta make sure. I almost skipped a really important step. I would have been like, why isn't it working? It's really good to like go through this stuff and just obsessively make sure that you've set the paths correctly, because that'll make you go crazy. Okay. Tier 1 URL contact page is alive. So let's go tier 1 URL contact page is alive. Replace with generic path. Then, is that done? Yeah. Looks like another 5-second delay. Clear harvester grid, import URLs into harvester, tier 1 URL alive, tier 1 URL alive. Replace with generic path. Import and add URLs into harvester. Oh, I see. This is an append. So, okay, it's a combo. Okay, so we're adding the tier 1 alive, then we're adding the tier 1 URL root. So let's go there. Replace with generic path. Then we're adding the contact pages alive. So 3 different articulations of the tier 1 URLs that are actually different forms of the tier 1 data. And we're going to bring all those into the harvester, remove the duplicates, and then export those into a single file that we can handle, which is this tier 1 URL alive and root and contact pages alive. Tier 1 URL and root and contact pages alive. That's what I should call it. I don't know why I have alive in there twice. Tier 1 URL and root and contact pages alive. Yeah. So that's just about the final URL expression. Let's save this here. I want to save this as something different. Tier 1 USA Yahoo and let's take these spaces out. Let's go tier 1 USA Yahoo 30 deep. We don't need to say URL. Or yeah, well, I guess we do. URLs. 3 deep URL. Okay. Pretty precise description of what this process is all about. And I've been thinking about different ways of handling it, like I was talking about earlier. I want to run a video test on using long tails at a really shallow range with a ton of keywords just to see what kind of yield we get by comparison. I want to do a test to determine if, just getting a ton of deep tier 1 links is better, and then foregoing contact page permutations and foregoing anything like just generically tier 1 URLs, just trimming everything to root so that we can have a manageable sample. I'm curious to see what that would be like. So I need to pick a keyword and do 3 different scrapes on 3 different machines at the same time, and I need to have it set up so that it sends me an email when it's finished, so that I can measure how long each scrape takes. And so that'll be a really cool case study to do in the not too distant future. For now, though, this is my classic spread. Let's also save this in the temp folder in a temp file. So I'll say temp, save it here in the same space. And so oftentimes what I'll do is, see, this is like a typical scrape. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't even see what came up there. Oops. This is the typical scrape for my business, and then at different levels of depth, we'll use bigger city size. And so basically, what I'll just do is I'll just come in here, guys, and I'll just go Premium Plugins Automator, and then I'll go Load File, and I'll generally load the base file, and then I'll just come in and go find the city one, which is import keyword list. Kind of hard to see because that folder that I created is so long, so apologies for that. I've been Scrapebox B2B Lead Automator. Yeah. And sorry, it's long, but branded. So you open this up and then just go to your resources and replace the city. Say if we did a bigger city list, we could go here. And you could save these as profiles also if you were doing something more consistently. And then go into the harvest URLs and then just change this value. So 43,000 cities at 30 results is pretty good. It's a broader net, but then you could go to 50 results and it's substantially deeper. And once you've created something, you just go to save file, and then I'll just usually go to the temp file and save it like that, because you really don't need to save 50 different expressions of the same thing. You really just need sort of one template, and then you can go in and tweak it a bit. Now, if you wanted to make a folder for varying levels, then I guess you could just come back in at some point, and that might not be too bad. Like, put all of your files in a Automator folder, and then you could just select a profile for how deep you wanted it to be. But this is kind of how I do it, and because sometimes, depending on the quantity of the parameters, I might do a custom value. So anyways, let's run a test and see how it performs. I changed the name of this. URL and root and contact pages alive. So let's create a shortcut here. Let's go to the end. And let's put this file here. I don't need to have these proxies out here now that I think about it. I need to make sure that if I handle them, they need to be the same files. So do I want to do shortcuts? I can just Let's do a shortcut to this folder. Let's do it here. Yeah, that way I can sort of drag it from the folder if I need. So I do like to drag those sometimes. Okay. And sometimes there's a temp city file that I use. Would that be resources? Permutations. Yeah, I guess that would be resources. Let's go ahead and make a temp file in this folder, and then we can make a shortcut here. And that way, if I need to do a custom city arrangement, then I can have this changed here, and then in the program I can change it to look at the temp folder. And I probably need to set this rejects. Well, I'll just leave that. I can always do this another time. Like, if you guys haven't put UK phone number rejects into your Scrapebox instances, then here it is, and you can pause it on these builds that I've created. This is not even all of them because none of these are plus contain the plus country code, but I have a video out there on the UK phone number rejects, so you can also find that if you like and download that file. Excuse me. So let's minimize this and let's run a test. There's nothing in here, right? Okay. Excuse me. So let's do 5 keywords. Let's do plumbers, Mansfield, Texas, USA. When you do your keywords, it's ideal to spell out the city name when possible. It's not a big deal if you, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but, or not the city name. It's ideal to spell out the state name, because in some cases when you've got a city that has a lot of, there are cities like that in different states, you want to make sure that you have that state name spelled out. It's okay to have the abbreviation, but I have found in some cases that it doesn't include, it won't all the time look at it properly. So plumbers, Mansfield, Texas. Let's go electricians, Mansfield, Texas, USA. When you get really deep with any given scrape, you will pull up foreign results. So that's also why I try to put USA sometimes, but it's not a big deal if it's pulls in something foreign, like you can't really control it necessarily if the deeper you go, Okay, plumbers, electricians, car repair, Mansfield, Texas. This is just kind of arbitrary city that's south of where I live. Let's do, what's another service? Nail salon, Mansfield, Texas, USA. Let's just do those 4 and kind of see what we're able to achieve. So all you have to do to run this, once it's in the folder there, basically you just open up your permutations niche terms file, drop your keywords in, save it, and then you just hit the go button and everything else is automated. So let's run the Automator. And by the way, never favorite your Automator jobs, because it will save the Automator file that you add to it in its exact state. So any updates you do to that file, it will not run that updated version of the file. It will basically save that Automator file into Scrapebox. So you never want to do the favorites section, because you might be running something that's deprecated from an old process, and it's easy to not realize what's happening sometimes. Okay, so here we are, and we basically just run the SBAF Scrapebox Automator file that we want. In this case, I'll run this one and just kind of see how it does. It should only take a few minutes. Oh, shoot. Wait. Oh, gosh. What did I do? I clicked hide. Darn it. Abort. I had it run. So my mistake was that I had it run 5,000 cities. Whoops. So there's, for some reason, I was articulating locations there. I apologize. That was just a silly thing for me to do. You don't need to run the terms in here. I just wasn't thinking. You don't need to run the terms with locations. You just need to run the keywords themselves. So yeah, so some of you guys are probably looking at that thinking like, why would I have to type in the location? Sorry about that, guys. So you just put the terms in there, and then say in the temp file, I could go Mansfield, Texas, or your location file in general, right? You could go Keller, Texas, USA. Go South Lake, Texas, or let's go Grapevine, Texas, USA. Okay, so then I would open up my Automator file or Automator plugin, and I would load up the template, and then I would change the import export keyword lists here to the temp, and then I would go into the harvester and maybe change the depth of the results. And really, the temp probably should just be set to the temp locations, possibly, so that you don't forget what you've done. Anyways, let's save this as temp. Probably should have looked through and make sure that the generic path was all set. Let's save this here. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll go and run the Automator job. This is a very small number of keywords, so it shouldn't take very long. So, and by the way, for those who wouldn't know, if we were to go into the files under permutations, then we would be able to see under keyword export all those, Plumbers, Mansfield, Texas, USA, New York. So it's all those permutations from that particular file have been executed. So obviously that's not what we wanted. I was just on autopilot, really. So okay, temp file, open, and it's going to run really quickly, so it should be finished in just a couple seconds. So this over here is, you can see the process. These are the steps it's going through. This little window here, you can abort this, and then you can go in the task manager and kill the active process, and it'll totally stop the Automator. So this shouldn't take too long. Sometimes a live check can get threads hung up, but it won't totally just freeze like link extractor and some of the other, like the social checker. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. The social checker gets totally bogged down, but in my experience, this will process, even though right now you see it's hung up on the last several threads. So that there's one right there it's getting hung up on. And it just ran the space removals, waited 5 seconds. It's going to do a live check on those. So now it's checking which contact, whoa, that was fast. Which contact pages were legit. And I guess that was it. It was really fast. So we've got 248 URLs for our car repair, plumbers, and electricians for those 3 or 4 cities. And usually what I'll do is I'll arrange this alphabetically, and then I'll come in here and go remove URLs which are not entries which are not URLs, remove entries when host is an IP, because sometimes those come through still. One of the annoying things is this existence of duplicate URLs with forward slashes. And what I tend to do there is add things to the end of them, add postfix, and then I'll remove them. So if you have a big scrape and you scrape for metadata, then you can actually do it faster, because when you remove the trailing information from your metadata, it kind of allows you to have unique characters after that forward slash there. I talk about that in other videos where I discuss metadata scraping, so that's another topic. But just to show you quickly, what I would do is I'd copy these to clipboard, a manual way to do this, and then go to Scrapebox text editor. Excuse me. I don't think I've ever shown this, possibly. Paste this in here, then I go to postfix with user input, and then I'll add 3 exclamation marks and click OK, and then copy that into just some random text file and paste that. And by the way, I mostly do my data replacement inside of a regular text file now rather than Notepad++, because Notepad++ is still necessary to change the encoding to ANSI in cases where maybe your email scraper crashes and you want to remove random artifacts. And I do other videos that talk about that. So that is necessary in those cases. But then you can just drop it into a regular text file. Regular text files are significantly faster at doing find replace functions than Notepad++. I'm not sure why. So you go Control H, and then you have it find / exclamation 3 exclamations, and replace that with nothing. Replace all, and it's instant. And then you remove the /, have it replace the exclamations that are left over, and now you have a clean list. So close that text file, and then you close this, and then repaste it, and boom. We just dropped another 40 duplicates from our sample because Scrapebox views those / as different URLs than those that don't have /, so it's a pain. And at this point, you can do manual removals, remove URLs containing wiki, URLs containing .gov. I've done it one at a time for a really long time just as a habit, but it's actually a lot faster to go into the premium plugins, email scraper premium plugin, to the email filter, and you can do regular keywords like this. So if I was to load this, well, this is annoying. Oh, here we go, paste from clipboard. No emails on clipboard. Okay, that's obnoxious. So let's export this into a file. They need to change that. Let's just put it here into the red server, and then let's load it up like this. Desktop, red server, So it won't let you paste them because it doesn't detect the taxonomy that it wants, but it'll let you load the URLs. And then you can go keep emails containing there's all these different features, but it's mainly this. Keep emails containing this or remove emails containing this. So this is where you could go .gov, .edu, wiki, maybe like job or career, because you get a lot of those. And actually, you know what? I'd have like a blacklist. Let's see. Term. Let's go URL term blacklist. .gov.edu, wiki, job, career. Those are some pretty common ones that I remove. And sometimes I'll also remove funeral for funeral, or mortu, or law, or legal, or estate, because it seems like lawyer websites, real estate websites, and funeral places rank for everything, which is interesting, I guess, because obituaries contain people descriptions of people with lots of career types. So that's a little creepy. But let's go permutations. Yeah, let's call this permutations and not URL. Permutations, term blacklist. Let's put this here. And then let's just make a shortcut. Put this like this. So you still got a little bit on your desktop just for the sake of convenience, but not like a ton of strings, dragging all across your interface. So yeah, you put those there, apply. And it's kind of hard to tell. They don't have any numbers here or any prompts to let you know if something has worked. So let's just save this to Red Server and close this. And so we got 203 here. Let's drop it 202. So we didn't really do anything there. And it's obviously better to kind of run that when you've got your metadata, your pre metadata done. But I won't do a pre metadata scrape. When I say pre metadata, what I mean is grabbing the metadata on the URLs before you've scraped for emails. I won't do that unless the sample is too big, because otherwise you can filter for keywords anyways. But it is better. So it's generally better, but it's also destructive. So once you do that, you're covering anything that you've inadvertently nuked. But that is pretty much the process, guys. Let's see how we're doing on time. Maybe we'll cover a new email. Oops. And actually, let's look at. So what we've done here is this file is now totally self-sufficient, independent. You can grab this file and drop it on your desktop, or if you copied that process, you can drop that on your desktop and run automated scrapes just like I'm running. So let's go and look at one of our old servers here and see if we missed anything. Niche files. I use those e-commerce niches for e-commerce oriented. Oh, I don't have footprints on here, do I? Niches. Where are my footprints at? Phone number. Cities, proxies, temporary files, bunch of deprecated stuff here. What's this? Need to organize this somewhere. Temp file, added that. The batch file. I'm going to put this over here. I need to make sure that that's saved safely somewhere. Updated file is in the place it needs to be in. Delete this. Move this up. Should be able to delete all this. Although I do have this UK scrape here, but that can be rekit. I can rekit that with a general template. What's this? Sitemap files. Put this over here. URLs for scrape. Top 10 e-commerce snitches. Let's delete all this. Scrapebox phone number rejects. Okay, that might be useful. Let's leave that. 1,300 local business keywords. I need to put this into the resource files over there just in case. What's this queue? Oh yeah, I need to handle this. I need to put all this stuff into this from the queue into some such place of use. So actually, let me make sure before I copy these files. The rest of this stuff, Canadian data center, mobile, temp city. Should just be able to delete all this. What's here already? This is where I took it from, so should be able to just. I'm not gonna like mess with tier 2 for a while. So let's delete these files. Well, you know what? I ought to save that just in case. Probably need to save. Well, I deleted process already, so let's make a zip file, tier 2 model sample. And let's just drag this in here, and that way we can kind of see, are there any files? I need to delete this. We can kind of see what the structuring was in case we want to reproduce tier 2 structures. Although it does not work in the Automator, so not really likely that that's going to be something we want to do. All right, so let's just put those in there just so we can see how those were structured. Delete this, and then come up here, and we'll copy all this into the new server. And this is our folder. Should be under resources, I guess. 1,300 local business keywords. Phone number rejects. And we'll put this in here also. Well, we probably need to put that into its own folder. Tier 2. It just doesn't get used. Excuse me. Okay. And then some of these file names need to be changed. Look at this reject. Okay, that rejects is not really something we need to know about immediately. Let's put phone as a folder and drop that in there so we don't get too confused. And then we'll go 1300 local business keywords. Let's change this. Yeah. We'll leave that in there. Even though these are all locations, it's fine. It's something that could be actively used, so that's cool. And let's check, let's see. Temp, permutations, blacklist, permutations, niche terms. All right, those are all shortcuts. It should be able to be, oh, they can't. I have to remake those shortcuts on my other computer, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't even use well, you need shortcuts. You do need shortcuts. Unless, maybe I can change the properties of a shortcut. What is this? Contact pages alive. I wonder if I can use that that percentage. Let's try it. All right, let's copy the other thing first, or let's just click cancel. Let's try the permutations shortcut out of curiosity. Let's go copy this whole string and then see if we can. I'm sure it won't work, but just curious. Give it a nice path. Start in, oh, okay. See, desktop. Specified in the target box is not valid. Sure the path and file name are correct. Yeah, that's a bummer. I wish there was a way to do that. I'm sure there's got to be a way. What happens if I just go like this? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I guess I can't get you guys the shortcuts. You got to make your own shortcuts. Probably should have put in that case, I probably should have put the some of the main files in the root or something like that. Oh well. So you got to make a shortcut to your desktop for the niche terms, permutation niche terms, for the final URL file, for the blacklist file, and for the temp locations file. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. You can permutate your own locations with the regular merge feature. Cover that in other videos. So okay, let's move on. Let's take a look at one of my other servers and see if there's anything unique over there. So I got a Netherlands location that I used one time. Yikes. So I might want to grab that one. Alternate search engines. Let's see. I'm not going to use that. E-commerce footprints, I need that. I need to put that somewhere. E-commerce niches. I don't really need the top 10 niches. Let's delete these. Let's delete all of this. Oh, I got Australian cities over here. Did I paste? I don't remember pasting the e-commerce footprints. Let me see. Yeah, e-commerce. Oh, e-commerce niches. I've those footprints. I need these other city ones. I use this all the time as a temp file. I can delete it though. Is this a verified file? From property management construction. How big is this file? Delete this file. That's from a custom order. Oh, excuse me. Oh, pardon me. Workflow for my dental scrape. Let's delete this. Probably need to keep that data. Scrapebox ID. Let's delete that. Delete the. Put the batch thing into the sandbox file. Put this up here and this up here. Some other files that I need to process. Yahoo, Bing, Canada. Okay. Delete this all of this. And let's go and look at all this. Can delete all these. I do need to have a mobile proxies folder. So let's put this up here. I don't think this is valid anymore, so don't bother trying. I shouldn't have even looked in there, but oh well. Let's see, Canadian. I got a Canadian cities file. Let's just see if it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Let's delete this one. Delete all this. What's in this folder? Same file. I don't know why I have that in here. Bunch of images here. Guess I'll just leave that there. I don't know what I was doing over there. So phone number rejects. Let's delete that. And then copy all this over. Temp file, delete this. And what's this? $100,000 names. I don't remember what I was doing with that. Let's delete that. Just put this over here. Anyways, let's copy this and go back to the red server. Put this in the sandbox and move it here. E-commerce footprints is important. I think it's handled manually, but let's go ahead and put it in the resources. Yeah, let's go ahead and go e-commerce file. And we'll just drag that stuff into there. mobile proxies. Let's go to our proxy file, and actually under resources, let's make a shortcut to e-commerce here for the occasion, the off occasion we do that. And then for mobile proxies, I'll just put this into, put this into the proxy folder. The occasion that might use those, it'll be useful. And then we got 170 Netherlands cities in Netherlands. Resources. How many cities in this Australian file? 1,000. Okay. 1,000. 1K. Australian cities. Australian. All right. So you can create your own shortcuts, but this is all self-contained little folder now, so it's a lot more organized. Pretty cool. Do I need to? These are all shortcuts, so it's totally self-contained now. Should probably put instructions. So we'll say set keywords in this file. Run or edit this file. And that's pretty much it. Reference Automator sequence. Let me just see. Create C3 contact Ivan at www.goodivan.com for questions. Simple. All right. Excuse me. Okay, so then take a look at our blue server, and let me kill that stuff. Should be able to just copy over that file. I know I'm going a little slow here, but it's just because I've never done anything like this before, so constantly questioning myself. What's this test? Oh, I did this earlier. Figuring out what I've done. I myself have done. Local business keywords. Okay, let's delete that. Got a bunch of stuff I haven't handled on these servers. Just it's easier to just put it to the side, put it out of mind, you know. But should be able to just drop this folder right here. And delete this. Okay, so that should be good to go. I can run a test in a second. And then, what am I doing here? Blue server. You know, I probably should put a step in the sequence to email me when something's finished. It's probably a good idea. Let's take a look at our let's take another look at our Automator sequence and see how convenient that will be. Let's go to Automator. Let's go load Automator file. Let's load our file. Now over here, I know there's harvester, poster, miscellaneous. Should be under miscellaneous. So send notification email. See this loop here? It makes you wonder, like, what exactly are people doing that they need to run a loop? It's very interesting. Let's push that over. This uses the email account settings added in Scrapebox under options. Set up email notification. All right, let's come over. The Automator is not, it doesn't consume the main window, so let's take a look over here. Where is this? Options. Here we go. Set up notification email. In order to receive notification emails, please set up your email server below and select the event for which you want to receive a notification email. Well, I definitely don't want to kit this into any public model. Let me see. Enable notifications, sender's email address, outgoing SMTP. Only notify me. No, I guess once I set these criteria, then I can have it send based from the Automator. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Primarily would be email grabber complete. Anyways, I guess it's up to you guys if you want to set this up. Basically, you can just come in here and add this to the recipe. It didn't ask me if I wanted to close. Let me make sure that didn't save. Okay. Yeah, I might do that. That might be useful. Just to keep the server running. Anyways, okay, let's move on. We've got it in the blue server. We've got it in the black server. Or wait, is it there? Yeah. Ooh, red, blue, black. Let's do the white server. This is my old computer. So this is kind of it's a slower machine. It's got stuff always bogging it down. I don't need this anymore, so Not sure how well this server is going to perform, but at least it'll be here. At least it'll be an option. Did I clone this yet? Oh, no, I didn't. Setting up a new instance from start to finish is something that is helpful. Let me see what I named these, because I want to be consistent. Yeah, it's just 1 and 2. Let's close. Well, before we do that, let's make sure that this is all updated. Wow. Yeah, 2 of my instances are from an issue with licensing. Like, my main PayPal account was on my personal email for like a couple years, and then I put my business email as the primary owner of that particular PayPal account. So then when I went to buy new licenses, I told you guys about this in the past, it associates them as like brand new licenses under a different email, even though it's the same account. So they basically made me buy premium plugins again, because the premium plugins are supposed to transfer to all future licenses. And so that was a really unnecessary expense, but one I elected to do because, I wanted to have it under my business email. So these first couple instances for like my 2 oldest Scrapebox licenses, I used to run one of them on a VPS and one of them on my PC. And so these 2 oldest instances, they have like all the premium plugins that were available up until that point. So anything new that has come out, like these 3 here, they're not going to be included. It's taking forever. Jeez. There it goes. All right, so let's close that. Let's make sure the add-ons are all good to go. These should be faster. Basically, just going to update this and then clone this folder into a second instance. Still kind of keeping all this stuff because I'm still in the process of transitioning to my new computer, so sometimes I forget about certain resources and certain things I used to do, and it's not all transferred yet. It hasn't been too bad, and man, the performance of the new machine is just on a whole other level. It's really great. Well, while that's working, I need to take a look at the time, how we're doing on time. 2 hours. That's super long. Yeah, I'll save the special on the for the a slightly new method, basically not email sending, but email scraping process. I'll save that for another video. So that's all updated. I'm always paranoid about this because sometimes there are certain features that I don't check off properly. So I'll just copy here. I really don't have that much space left on this particular computer, so it's really kind of just emergency. Two and a half. You know what? I must have had old data in there. Let's see. Geez. There needs to be a button in Scrapebox where you can click, delete all temporary data. Yeah, that is taking way too long. Well, I'll let that run and then I'll clone that folder. But did I put the thing on the desktop? Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's run one test job to make sure that the instance is operating as expected on a different machine. I'm sure that it is, but just want to make sure. All right, let's go grab ourselves our niche terms, make our shortcut here. I don't know why they put shortcut in the file name. It's already implied on the little arrow. And let's run pest control. Toilet repair. Door installation. And that should be... Oh, I need to go in and do the temporary locations. So let me grab my temp file. Create a shortcut here. This is so long. Oh, there's stuff in here. Yeah, there's location. Should be fine. So let's close that, and then let's go see something. Let's open up our Automator file. Well, it's already set to temp on that one temp file. Let's just run this temp file. Probably might even need to put this folder into... You can right-click this folder and go pin to quick access. Might be worthwhile. So let's run this temp file. Looks like the proxy's loaded. And the scrape has been complete. There are live checks. Curious to see if the batch... Sure, the batch file will be fine. It should be all set to path stuff and things. Let me double check that. Well, it was from a different machine, so it had to have been. Permutations, edit in Notepad+. Yeah, should be totally fine. While that's loading, we will check that other server. Got hung up on 6 threads again. Happened last time. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, Scrapebox support acts like everything is perfect, but then you run into the same problems. Scientifically, it's like it's just testable, repeatable, provable. Stuff they need to fix. That one happened quickly. 5-second delay. Export URLs from Harvester. remove duplicate URLs. So these three occurred, and then export URLs from Harvester seems to have frozen there. Well, that's pending. Let's take a look at the Automator file and make sure that I didn't make a mistake. It's very possible. So let's open this up. What's the deal with these windows? Let's edit the temp file. Oh, look at that. Can you guys believe that? At the last step, I didn't put the correct thing. I didn't put the placeholder. Well, that is silly of me. Silly. Because it just got stuck. Let's look at this. Under Task Manager. Let's just go ahead and kill Scrapebox. It's just going to sit there for 1,000 years, and here we go. Let's reopen these. Well, that is my bad. I bet there's a way to get neutral path, generic path on these shortcuts, then that'd make it easier in some ways too. Let me delete these files and all these instances. Wow. It's crazy. 55 minutes? Why? Now you guys see what I was dealing with this old computer. Okay, so let's go to black server and delete it, and then go to the blue server. Well, I don't even need to do all that. I can delete it when I get there. Let's just go into the red server, and obviously we need to edit those areas. That one area where I apparently got too excited and made a big mistake. All right, let's grab desktop, drop it here, save here, and that's done. Let's go ahead and load the temp file also, just because it's convenient. It's already got that other one set. Something's going to have to be changed anyways. Save this temp file. As far as I know, this is just 30 results. I don't like how I can't... Whoa, what? Why has this changed? That's weird. Let me save this back. Let me check all these. Just make sure they have the right generic. File paths. All right, looks good now. Let's load up the other one. See, that didn't change. That's strange. I mean, if it changes after the fact, I guess it's not a big deal. Maybe it changes it once it's been complete, which I guess is not a big deal. It just got to make sure that as I'm saving these, then it's just totally generic. Let me clear these files out also, because it's just how it needs to be. I don't want to clear that one out. Snitch terms, blacklist. Probably leave those in there. Useful guide. We'll go to, oh, you know what? I just realized I got to make sure to remove my proxies if I decide to send these to you guys. That would be a really dumb thing to do. Okay, tier 1, 2, tier 3. And then these should be, yeah, there's nothing going on in there. So this should be a great model now. Just got to get it to just run a test and see what's going on there. Server. Let's drop this here. These paths haven't changed. So that should be fine. All right. Let's load up the template though, out of curiosity, see if maybe moving it to another machine is what changes it. Let's load this one. Nope, that stayed. That one stayed also. Those two stayed. Let's open up I don't know why I did that. I could have just loaded the file. So I'll open up the temp file. That one stayed, and that one stayed, and that one stayed. So let's run a job now. Let's try Fort Worth, Texas, USA, and Keller, Texas, USA, Mansfield, Mansfield, Texas, USA. And then here we'll go oil change, car repair, state inspection. Oop. Okay, and then we'll just run that job as a temp job. Just right. And see what happens. Oh man. Just let it run through its process. It's interesting that this tier 1 alive check takes longer than everything else in the process. It's gonna hang up at like 6 threads in a second here. Or I guess it looks like 12 threads, even though there's what? There's 8. Or wait. Oh, that's 12, yeah. 12 URLs to go. Just hangs up on the last few every time. It needs a way to just dump the ones that are getting stuck. Such a pain. There it goes. Like, why is that so much faster? The alive check. Oh, wait a second. You know what I noticed is those URLs didn't appear to have spaces removed. That's why that's going so quickly, because it's not processing correctly. Permutations, updated permutations, contact keyword export. Well, this is correct, but the file that they're tapping into is not correct. Let's open the Automator file, and let's open up the process we just ran and make sure that nothing has changed. No? How about down here? No, it hasn't changed. I guess I missed it somehow. That was a really dopey thing for me to do. You know, what's whack though is as you come in here to change this for different jobs, then you'd have to set this also. I mean, you don't have to. You could just let it set to your particular path on your PC. I was just trying to get this so that I could share it between instances. But I guess if you're doing a ton of that, then if you're doing a ton of swapping on a machine, then that the template doesn't affect it anyway, so that really doesn't matter. What we do need to look at is execute external program. And then it does an alive check. Select the URL list. Contact, permutations contact keyword export. Okay. Oh, I said it wrong. That's why it's not running correctly. And then it exports the alive ones here. All right, let's delete this. And let's try this again. Let's go back to the red server. And let's go open up our instance. Open up this one. And it should be here. Okay, wait. Select the executable. Okay, so it goes there. The batch file runs the contact keyword export, right? Let's open it up. And then it saves it as updated. So the problem is that I didn't select the updated version of the file, like a silly goose. So let's grab this path here, and then we'll go into permutations. Or I'm sorry, this is the executable. So we need to go to the alive check. Select the URL list here, and we need to select well, shoot, it's not in there. Must have deleted it. It's odd though. I thought I ran it earlier. Here, let's. Should just be able to add a space to this, and then I can just run this file. Permutations, contact, keyword, export. Should create an updated version unless there's an issue with it running. Maybe I need to refresh this. No? Okay, let's try adding more lines. Unless it's structured that way. Let me see. I didn't actually look to see. Oh, I see it. It's probably looking for a space, and then a forward slash is probably why it's not working. Excuse me. Let's try it again. And it's not resolving properly. So we probably just need to make sure that we're going website.com/contact, site.com/contact. I think it's looking for a space / structure. It's not removing all spaces. It's removing spaces between forward slashes or whatever. So that's not exactly what I asked him to do, but I guess it did what I needed it to do. So let's go run this. This is really peculiar. Why is it not running? We tested it earlier and it was running fine. Is there something running over here? I mean, it's clearly running. It's working when we run the Automator, but for some reason when I try to run it manually here, it's clearly not working. Permutations, contact, keyword, export. Let's try creating the file. Let's see. What do I have on my clipboard? Oh, okay. Let's try creating the file name. Maybe that'll fix it. Let's go updated. Permutations. Yada da da da. It deleted it. What's in this file? This file keeps getting created. Oh, well, that's odd. I'm not sure why that's happening. Because we did it earlier and it was creating the file. Well, we need to run a test with a full job and just see if it does it. I don't know why it's not working manually here. It's not supposed to be giving us this problem. So I never changed this file. Well, I changed it here. Permutations, contact, keyword export. That's the only place I changed it. I don't see why that would stop it from functioning properly. Well, I'm going to take this file name and I'm going to go into the Automator and I'm just going to manually add an alive check to updated like this. And updated dash and then file. So updated dash should be the exact same on that alive check, and then import URLs, tier 1 URL alive, URL root, oh I see, I save it here. Okay, so this is all I have to change. Sorry, this is all I have to change. Yeah, so let's save this here. Yeah. Save that there. Then we'll go load this and save this. Yikes. Apparently I had that whole file name on my clipboard. Let's go updated permutations. All right. Hopefully that I didn't do something to make that too terrible. Okay. Let's go temp. Let's exit all this and recopy this file back here into the sandbox. All right, let's try this again. Let's try state inspection, oil change, and car repair. This time we'll say Santa Fe, New Mexico, USA, Roswell, New Mexico, USA, and that's the end of all the places that I'm aware of in New Mexico. So Let's do that. We'll add another term for car detailing to make up for our loss of location. And then we will run our temp job. And hopefully our space creator will, or our space killer will make that file like it's supposed to. I don't recall having that problem before. Should be able to just run it manually and not have any problems. So it's a bit odd. Unless it's something really obvious that I'm just not thinking about. It ran fine on the red server, and it's been on multiple servers. Oh, excuse me. So let's see how this does. Oh, looked like it did something there. And it looks like the contact pages are permutated properly. Let's go into the file. Yep, there's the updated permutations. Oh, you know what it was? Or wait. What's in this file? Maybe the HTTPS structures are essential for that to work correctly because they have forward slashes. Let me look into this. It could be. I don't know how to read all that, but yeah, so you probably have to have those HTTP structures with the forward slashes because it's probably instructed to work like that, to find like the third forward slash with a space behind it. It's probably what it's like, really specific. That's probably why it didn't work. But it's working now. It's finished. Wikipedia. Oh, I accidentally clicked remove duplicate domains. Fortunately, that's why you usually want to have your file down here so you can throw it back in. Well, did a ton of little tweaking around and debugging, and took us, how long did it take us? 2.5 hours. But it's finished. What I'm probably going to do is, guys, is kit this together somehow and maybe sell it. Can't decide what I'll sell it for. It'll be more than the cost of a single scrape, of course, because it's a whole factory. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I appreciate you guys watching. I know this was a really long video, but it was also a really important of how to make it a sort of the isolated little program on your computer so that you can stay organized and not have a ton of files just wandering around on your desktop and what have you. And with it compacted into a folder, you can also copy that into a new server, and it's really easy to use. In some places you have to maybe clear out the data essentially, but mostly it's just put the keyword in there every time and run a new job, because the Automator will overwrite all the additional files throughout the process. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.